Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 here on HeflaTV HB1. I'm GrandisV. I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris for Game 2 of a best of 3 series between Balkan Bears Corleone and Virtus.pro. Well, any thoughts for the last game? Looked pretty good for BBC.
Man, if they just keep crushing VP like that, then this entire tournament is going to be so easy for BBC. Their laning stage, and I think because of their picks, was all very weak. But man, once they actually had to start fighting, things just got out of control really fast for Virtus.pro. And BBC, they're going to go and first pick Legion Commander. This is a fairly BBC-ish hero. It's pretty aggressive, at least when they play it. But VP, they're not scared. They're going to stay the course and grab the puck VS.
Wow, and then next for Balkan Bears, it's going to be a Broodmother. Very interesting. My goodness, I'm not sure exactly why Virtus.pro are deciding to go for the exact same thing that they went for in game number 1. I suppose it's still a really solid opener, and honestly, the Venge and Puck did pretty well. The defensive swaps were on point, and up against a Legion Commander, having a defensive swap at your disposal is always a nice tool, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure if this is a Draw Ranger game or if they're going to go for that again. But I think Puck Venge is decent enough to go for the second time, even if you lost game 1.
All right, so BBC take the Broodmother as the second pick. They already take out Legion Commander, or they have Legion Commander, so they don't have to worry about that, which is a pretty hard counter. All the games I've seen of Broodmother so far have been responded to with an Axe, since that is traditionally the strongest hero against Broodmother, and that is not going to be an exception anytime soon. It would be certainly a change of pace for Virtus.pro, and I think after the last game, they have to pull something a little bit different out of the hat.
Yeah, if they're not going to go for the Axe, Earthshaker is always a really solid hero, just in general, and works really well up against Broodmother. If you're able to drop that dunk on a handful of Spiderlings, by handful I mean 10 plus, Broodmother is going to get squished. So yeah, I think either of those heroes would be wonderful for Virtus.pro, and Earthshaker definitely the safer of the two, but going aggressive with Venge Axe +1, it's always a lot of fun to watch, so one can hope.
All right, so if VP, they could also go for, as you said, the Earthshaker, Sand King, very similar heroes in how they behave versus the Broodmother. If you have a massive amount of AoE, a Burrow Strike into Sandstorm will clean out pretty much all of those Spiderlings, and well, if you land an Epicenter, Broodmother is just going to be screwed regardless, so those types of heroes should be the priority for VP. They already have a Puck who's okay at dealing with the Broodmother, certainly not the best, but having anyone who could blink in and then straight up dust the Broodmother is going to be ideal, and Puck is a hero that can do that. That being said, they would like to have a little bit more control for the Broodmother. Coil is nice, but Broodmother can, in theory, just pop the hunger and then turn around and make short work of the Puck, so they need a little bit more follow-up.
Definitely, especially if an Orchid's on the table for Broodmother. Puck needs to be so very careful. Next couple bans from either side are looking pretty standard, with just like Ogre and Scarth banned out by Virtus.pro. It's unlikely that Balkan Bears are going to throw the Leech Commander towards the jungle and probably are lacking 2 of their supports. Again, they're going to put their faith in a Disruptor. Sand King the choice for Virtus.pro, as we've kind of already talked about, wonderful at clearing out Broodlings, especially if you get like a point in Caustic Finale. Even though I haven't seen it very often, usually Sand Kings ignore it. Even without it, it's pretty good to clear out Spiderlings, but if you just hit one of them, they'll just sort of explode. Disruptor for Balkan Bears in game number 1 looked pretty good, and as far as supports are concerned, is usually pretty solid.
Yeah, it would be a pretty nice, counter pick for Legion, although the odds of that happening are fairly low. It used to be a thing when Broodmother used to be, a first pick, top-tier hero that they enemy teams would just pick Sand King and then try to match the Sand King with Broodmother and go for a Caustic Finale build. That might be what we're seeing right now. I mean, not that much has changed. You can still get the matchup there, and Caustic Finale is such a great tool versus Broodmother. So maybe Virtus.pro are going to be landing a quote-unquote core Sand King, and that may very well work, depending on, of course, where BBC decide to lane the Broodmother, which is always going to be the hardest part for VP to match that lane. If they see any webs, then they will know exactly where the Broodmother is, so it isn't that difficult. Now a Slark, the pick for Virtus.pro. It's fine, I suppose. It has a little bit more AoE, but I don't know. With a Disruptor and Legion Commander already on the field, I don't really know if this Slark is the best pick.
Yeah, they definitely have tools to lock him down. I like this Lark a lot better than the approach they're going for last game, however, just in the way that the hero works. I think Virtus Pro this game are going to have a lot of ways to start fights on their own terms, whereas last game they kind of relied exclusively on the puck to get the jump, or maybe an offhand swap from the Venge. And if you ever get behind, when you're relying on just like a single initiator, finding fights is really difficult. So I quite like that they have like the Sand King presumably working in towards a Blink, and either Shadow Blade or Blink for this Lark as well. BBC, they're going to go for a Lich. Looks like they just want to lock down their lanes. A lot of magic damage from these supports, but not a whole lot of lockdown. As you said earlier, the Leech Commander duel as well as the Static Storm should be enough to keep Virtus Pro in place, but honestly, I'm not entirely on board with the Lich.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, Lich is always just a very average support hero, pretty much no matter what situation you pick him up in. He's, a little bit better versus the likes of Elder Titan, but first banned out, that's obviously not going to be relevant in this game. It's just an attempt, as you said, to get a little bit more power in their lanes. I think after the last game, they will certainly pay a little bit more attention to the strength of their lanes. They don't have someone like a Zeus or a Tidehunter who's just going to instantly win you the fight. BBC, they're now more of a skirmishing team, with Broodmother and Legion Commander especially excelling at those roles. And VP, they have a little bit more team fight, but they're perfectly happy to skirmish as well. So when you have this kind of skirmishy versus skirmishy team, it does come down to the lanes. So BBC have no huge way of recovering. They need a little bit more power in their lanes. And with the Lich, I think it's a fine pickup in that regard. Honestly, the other supports that they could have picked up, Earthshaker? I don't really know if that would be doing enough.
Fair enough. It would have been very defensive either way, and although I personally would have liked it a little bit better, I don't think it really matters, and it does accomplish the goal that BBC are potentially keeping in mind. Last ban from VP, it's going to be a Viper taken out from them. Their bans, especially on Virtus Pro's side, look just really vanilla. The Centaur, the last ban, coming out from BBC is a pretty nice one. Would have given them yet another Blink Initiator, and at a certain point, just having 4 heroes blinking on top of you is incredibly hard to deal with, and somehow Brewmaster has managed to slip his way through the last pick in this pool, and I think it's a pretty good one for BBC.
Yeah, especially against Legion Commander. If you jump in, you're packing the duel, you're like, all right, let's go. Suddenly you get beer in your eyes and you can't hit anything, so good luck winning that duel. Brewmaster is also going to let Virtus Pro have a small tool at dealing with that Broodmother. Clap is sometimes all you need in order to clean up a couple Spiderlings. If you have any sort of follow-up from any of the AoE, like literally any of the AoE, Vengeful Spirit Wave will do it. You can clean up the rest of the Spiderlings in a breeze. This is kind of a melee-heavy lineup for Virtus Pro, though it's certainly not unmanageable by any stretch. They have to worry about a Meepo. This is a Meepo up against Sand King, up against Brewmaster, but it's a wee Meepo, guys. Someone in chat was asking for it, and I guess BBC heard your calls.
Yeah, okay, so we have a Padrino Broodmother and a wee Meepo. I don't think it can get any better for BBC's picks, although honestly, I think it's a pretty risky choice this game, to say the least. Like, up against what VP are bringing to the table, Meepo might just get completely demolished. A lot of ways to lock him in place, and although their single target damage isn't that great, just the raw amount of AoE that they have is going to be really hard for him to deal with. Either way, I'll go ahead and introduce the VP side. We're going to have Zadoy taking the off lane puck, mid lane Brewmaster by G, and towards the safe lane, we're going to have farming BZZ on the Slark, supported by Sand King of Yul, and Vengeful Spirit, played by Jotum.
All right, so on BBC, Solitude is going to be playing the support Lich. Joining him on the bottom lane is going to be Hockey, at least for now, on the Legion Commander. Wee is going to be playing his trademarked Meepo in the middle lane. Levi is going to be on the Disruptor top. He's going to be joining Padrinho's Broodmother for a little while again. I don't expect these lanes for BBC to stick as dual lanes, although dual lanes aren't the worst for them, so they could just get away with it. Usually you see Broodmother in solo lanes, but maybe she's just going to potentially be scared of an aggressive tri-lane. That's obviously not going to be happening.
Yeah, I'm okay with these dual lanes coming out from BBC. I think it's going to secure a better time for Legion Commander, and honestly, the roaming potential of these two supports is pretty abysmal. They have a little bit of magic damage between them, but their lockdown ability to keep somebody in place is incredibly limited, so I think they'll just get more experience and more advantage out of these lanes just by playing it passively. And VP, although they do have double stuns in their supports with the Vengeful Spirit and Sand King, they have potential to get kills. More or less, they're just going to chill in their lanes and maybe look for a kill on bottom, just because they don't want to sacrifice Sand King's jungling potential.
Alright, so Meepo in the mid lane, this is one of the most common ways you see him laned, the other one being just pure pulling support. There are no really good matchups for Meepo. I think up against the Brewmaster, this might actually be one of the worst ones. We can't get into a fist fight with the Panda. He will just lose. And if he gets clapped, then he's just going to be taking a lot of damage. So, I mean, even though going up against someone like a Death Prophet, Razor, Viper, those are all really bad, going up against Brewmaster, it is just as bad. Wee's not going to have a good time here, but then again, Meepos are kind of used to being, in bad laning situations.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I personally would rather line up against a Brewmaster than a Viper, but I don't know, that's just because I hate Viper. Either way, Wee is going to have a large camp that he can stack up and come back into the game that way, so I think he's going to be just fine this game, although, just if you look at the raw CS in the early game, G should have a pretty significant advantage.
But then again, we saw how much CS actually mattered for VP in the last game. So even though they might be getting a little bit of a decent start over towards mid and over towards the other lanes as well, it is possible for VP to mess that up a little bit and will suddenly find themselves at a disadvantage. Over towards top, it is going to be Sidoi going up against the Broodmother with a little bit of base damage advantage. Is going to be pretty nice for the Puck to start things out. However, his ability to kill the Broodmother is pretty much nil without any rotation from Yol or Jotum, who are currently sitting down in the bottom lane. So Padrinto should be just fine up in the top lane, even getting a little bit of help from a Disruptor, which is not something that Broodmothers usually receive. Usually they're just pure solo, and usually pure solo in the off lane, but this is going to actually lock down this top lane pretty well for BBC, guaranteeing the experience for Broodmother, and they should be able to shut down Sidoi as well, although they have not got to that just yet.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, especially at early levels, but a little bit later on, once Broodmother gets a little bit of farm, can handle the lane pretty effectively. Down towards bottom, Lich Commander isn't getting much farm, but they're both getting experience on the Lich and the LC, and honestly the most important part for Lich Commander is getting that level 6. Although items are nice and getting an early Blink Dagger is wonderful, you have other heroes that can potentially start an engagement, especially Meepo. He's going to net up G in mid, looking for the poofs, gets the secondary net with Levi jumping in, the double poof, the damage is there. Kinetic Field's locked in place, they're going to glimpse him back, and this is going to be our first blood, Wee picking it up.
And that was so surprising for G. As soon as Meepo hit level 3, I think he was actually going aggressive, knowing that he was going to hit level 3, like by the time that it was actually needed. So he had level 3, he jumped in with 2 Meepos by surprise, and of course the Disruptor coming in was not spotted either by G and ended up giving first blood to the Meepo. This is the start you want as Meepo, and it literally cannot get any better than this.
No, it really can't. Both of our offlaners having pretty close skates with death. Once Broodmother has a little bit of an army, fighting up against that as the Puck is pretty difficult until you have more levels up into your nukes. 2 in a loose orb is nice, but not enough to instantly kill off all of those spiders, so it'll be just fine. And Legion Commander, although dropping incredibly low, was able to salve up and survive. But yeah, this is looking up for Wee. He has one of his Meepos that's incredibly low, but now that he has 2 of them, can toggle them around, start stacking up the jungle for him with the secondary one, or even look for kills. Wee is going to be having a good game, and the snowball has already started rolling.
And this could have potentially been avoided for VP if they decided to leave the lane with the Vengeful Spirit and the Sand King. They are not getting that many levels. They're protecting BZZ's farm, currently near the top of the last hit chart. So as far as that is concerned, doing pretty well for the Slark. But this is also letting the other lanes from BBC have an absolute free time. I mean, they have sentries on the Vengeful Spirit, or they have a sentry on the Vengeful Spirit, they have a sentry on the Sand King. Even going top lane, going for Padrinho is not completely out of the question. Is Padrinho going to go super aggressive onto Sidoi? It will not be enough for a kill, but man, he's not really putting himself at that much risk doing it. The Broodmother's running that lane over towards mid. G is going to find himself in a very similar situation. The net chain stun is pretty perfect. Levi does not have any mana, but G might be going down anyway. Needs a couple more right clicks. He will bottle up and he will be just fine, it looks like. But man, this Brewmaster has to be very careful. Although Wee, still wants in. Doesn't have an Earthbind, so getting this kill is near impossible. He's going to turn around for a clap that will not do enough. In fact, he goes to his death. Double poop and Wee gets the kill. Brewmaster, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, okay, so what we did there is he was looking for the AoE poof damage to kill off Brewmaster, but wasn't able to find it, but in the end, that, I don't know, dance that those 2 mid players were playing up against each other ends up favoring Wee. That's 2-0 in the mid lane, and honestly, Brewmaster should be favored in this matchup, and even though the CS is close, Wee is absolutely running it.
Alright, so maybe just me constantly underestimating Meepo, which is definitely something I do. I'm like, oh, Meepo's pretty terrible in this laning situation, but no, apparently Wee is just a god amongst men, and he's doing fantastically up towards top lane. Broodmother has already hit full Broodmother status. Going with that Soul Ring is going to take down a very, very early tier 1, free 5 minutes, and then, well, the Broodmother's pushing is pretty much never going to stop because mid lane is perfectly self-sufficient. The weak link in BBC's chain is probably down towards bottom, but the Legion Commander's not doing terribly either. Like, she's pretty much on course for where she needs to be. Once she hits level 6, she can accelerate a hell of a lot more, especially if she gets help from the Meepo, and it looks like that is very possible this game.
Yeah, he doesn't have the largest of stacks, just has a double over here, over in the side, but he'll be able to farm that up very quickly. Just a double poof, a little bit of smackdown with that Geo Strike. That's going to be gone. The farm acceleration for BBC is going to be wonderful for them, and really for VP, they need these Blink Daggers to come out before they can start trying to come back into this game. Brewmaster is well away from that. In fact, just ticks his level 6. So maybe this is a little bit of a turning point where G can look for kills. But honestly, I think they need the Blink Clap initiation. Similar for the Sand King and the Slark. And also, neither of them are really getting very much out of this, especially the SK, who hasn't been able to farm up his stacks. And if he's not careful, that could be invaded, farmed up by a couple of overwhelming odds, and or a poofing Meepo.
Oh, good.
I also really like what BBC are doing right now. They have the Meepo in the jungle, pretty standard stuff there, but they're also giving experience to the Disruptor. And if VP, if they could somehow do something similar with the Sand King, then they will be right back into this game if they get a fast Blink Dagger. Sand King is now starting to clear off a 1, 2, 3, 4 stack in his jungle, so he is going to get quite a lot of cash off of that one. And actually, God is going to find Wee. Poof out, though. It's not going to happen. It's going to be, VP still kind of just sitting on their hands right now. They have yet to actually do anything around the map. Even with the haste rune on God, I mean, trying to go into the enemy jungle is a noble attempt and everything, but killing off Meepo without stuns is damn near impossible. And, well, Yul's just going to be AFK farming, so the rest of the heroes, can they do anything? I would say not without a coil.
Yeah, they'll look to try to clear off a little bit of this medium stack, and they will succeed, but unfortunately for them, there's a couple of mud golems, which will slow this down a little bit. But it is farm that they are depriving BBC of. It's a small economic advantage towards their team. Padrino running around with a huge army of Spiderlings, going to be able to farm up some Ancients with these. Man, that's a lot of damage. Just being able to stack those all on top of each other is huge benefit for Broodmother in the last patch.
Yeah, and fortunately for Padrino, not having to deal with the minor splash damage of dragons either, which I don't think would have been enough to kill everything, although, when is splash damage from dragons ever relevant? This might be the only time. Padrino's now going to crash the mid lane. Look at the damage onto Jotum. I think the Spiderlings will just get this kill. One more injection. That was the easiest kill of the Broodmother's life. She literally did not have to work for that at all. Just circle and then right-click. That's it.
Yeah, these Spiderlings, they do a deceptive amount of damage. Like, on their own, 18 damage, it's pretty negligible for these little Spiderlings, and Spiderites are even a little bit less. But honestly, it doesn't matter. There's just so many of them, overwhelming the enemy team. 3-0 BBC. This early laning stage, honestly, probably couldn't go any better.
Yeah, the only, again, weak link is Hockey, but he's almost at his level 6. He's actually very, very close to a Blink Dagger. He's going to go for that one first. They're going to get Levi initiated upon by Cedo. However, Levi will survive for a little while longer. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, as G will close in for the clap, if not just the Puck's right clicks. Should kill off this Disruptor unless he gets a little more distance. He's going to die to a random creep, I think, just randomly decided to hit him. So it will be a kill for VP, finally getting themselves on the board. Luckily for them, they also managed to outrun everyone else from BBC except for Pedrinho, who wants to go for something. He shouldn't be going for anything. He's going to get his way back up to the high ground, but I mean, it's only a Disruptor dying right there. It's not the worst case in the world, and, well, bottom lane, Hockey's going to get jumped by BZZ. He is going to be going down even with the heal. That's going to be 2 kills now for VP. Finally, they're going to start doing something in this game.
Yeah, 700 gold pulled up onto BZZ. Slark not sure exactly what build he wants to go for, but he's the one that needs to start carrying some of his weight. The splash damage from the Black Dragons isn't enough to immediately kill Padrino's army, and he's going to constantly refresh that. Almost hasted move speed inside the webs is honestly pretty ridiculous.
And unfortunately for him, he is now going to have to leave his webs for a little while, but something that Broodmother can do is either jungle or creep cut the waves. Either way is going to be just fine in his top lanes, and still no one has done anything to stop him. Hockey on the bottom lane, along with Solitude, going to try to kill off this Slark. There's the heal into Solitude, so he will be just fine with the Magic Missile. Hockey looking for a duel. Actually, no, he's not, because he's not level 6. Just trying to kill off that Slark, but here comes the Brewmaster. No Blink Dagger in sight just yet. Jotum needs a swap, or Magic Missile doesn't have the swap, so it looks like everyone is going to back off from the bottom lane and be just fine. Hockey's so close to that duel level, and once he has that, it still will be a rather slow start for Legion Commander, all things considered, but who knows how much dual damage he's going to accrue.
Yeah, and Meepo is going to be well on his way towards a very fast Aghanim Scepter, already halfway there. In fact, a little bit more than that. They might be able to save Levi up towards top. He's going to get Dream cooled up. Now fighting into Cedo. The damage is immense. And Cedo almost just dropped straight up to that. The static from the Disruptor is going to end his life. Yul with the Sandstorm is going to farm a couple of Spiderlings and kill off the Disruptor at the same time. But down in bottom, Brewmaster is going to be killed up. Not inside the duel, unfortunately. Just barely ticking out for Hockey before that kill follows through. But it's still advantage towards BBC. 1 support for 2 cores.
Yeah, a kill is a kill, as Legion Commander is going to be a little bit upset that the duel didn't get that kill. It's not going to matter too much in the long run, or at least it shouldn't. Big item pickup for VP. We have...
Okay, I have no idea how that went down. Yol has Pedrinho's boots.
Yeah, and Pedrino has treads. What the hell happened?
Yeah, I have no idea. Another big major item for Yol is that Blink Dagger, and this is the one that really should start things off, but he did show it off to the wave, so BBC are not going to be caught unawares by this Blink Dagger, but then again, it's still an amazing initiation range. Oh, Pedrinho, he's gonna have to use another web. I think he's, yep, there you go. Okay, never mind. I was kind of hoping he'd get stuck there, but, you know.
So I have no idea what happened. I mean, I would say you have 2 feet and you might as well get 2 pairs of boots. Bottom lane, they're going to get the jump in once again onto Hockey. They will be able to bring him down. Slark finally getting a little bit of the snowball going. I think if ever there was a Midas game, this should be it for the Slark, although it seems like it is going to be a little bit too late for that. Legion Commander not doing too hot, but everyone else on BBC still firing off on all cylinders right now. Meepo taking a pause from the action. He's going to be farming up his Aghanim Scepter, and he's very, very close to that. Once that happens, man, it's going to be a lot of pain for VP. However, they still have not yet to use their Blink Dagger on Sand King, and they also haven't even used a split. Now they have a Blink Dagger on Brew, they will be looking to do so, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit late for a first-time split.
Yeah, it definitely is. Brewmaster, as well as Sand King, they can look to find kills, but in the meantime, they're going to go up in the puck up top. Sidoi is taking quite a bit of damage, but glimpse back inside the Static Storm. Kinetic fielded up, Sidoi is gone. And for the second time, pretty similar story to what happened before, except for this time with the Static Storm, it's even easier.
Well, this time Yol's going to come right in, looking for a little bit of return kill onto Pedrinho, with the epicenter being channeled. Pedrinho is going to try to lifesteal it out. That is awfully bold from him, although it didn't look like he had anywhere to run anyway. It's going to be a 1-for-1 over on the top lane, and epicenter, Blink Dagger being used by the Sand King, and Blink Dagger also used by the Brew. Pretty much par for the course, I would say. They're going to try to go for bottom lane. Pounce now onto Hockey. He's going to heal himself. Now to start dueling. Chain Frost as well as the Frost Blast will not be enough to kill off the Slark. In fact, the duel fizzles. It's not going to be the worst case scenario for BBC, but it's still pretty darn bad, as Solitude should be chased down. Shadow Dancing, the Slark is going to get a little bit more HP, and still at the same time following the Lich until he messes up the Pounce, and the Knolls eventually force him out of there. These Solitude Lich should survive, although Treant Coil is going to be committed. A straight TP out. Looks like Solitude's going to be just fine until a Burrow Strike lands onto 2. Wee is right in the area. Kinetic Field is up, but there's no Static Storm, and Wee's just fighting to the death right now. He's going to put a lot of damage onto everyone, but not enough damage onto anyone. One Meepo running off to the side is going to be falling. Actually, BZ gets that one in the end. Glimpse back onto the Slark. Will kill him off with the Urn Charge. Johnham tries to kill off Levi. 5 HP. The Disruptor survives. Now with another Kinetic Field, it's going to let Pedrinho collect the triple kill in this engagement. It's overall a wash, I think, if you consider the Legion Commander going down first in the bottom lane, but it's a lot of cores being dropped. I mean, Meepo as well as Legion Commander, these are high hero priority targets for VP.
Yeah, they are. Even though they're really high priority targets, honestly, the experience save, although it's super significant, isn't as much as what the Disruptor and the Broodmother gained. After that, you now have a Broodmother sitting at level 11 and a Disruptor at almost level 9, 14 minutes in the game. Can't really be happier if you're Levi. And although Meepo dies, he's still dangerously close to getting that Ags. If he didn't die there, I'm tempted to say he'd have it already.
Yeah, I think the way the math would work out, he would have it by now, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, it's only 200 gold away. It's not a terribly huge deal. He's going to get jumped once again. Yol with another nice Burrow Strike. Pedrinho dropping very low. Going to try to lifesteal this one out, but he doesn't have anyone to attack. Now Clap from G is going to kill off the Brood, as Wee is going to get the hell out of there, poofing all the way back to the Fountain. Broodmother getting stomped up on the top lane. Yol's Blink Dagger. Man, it's the same case as in game number 1, the Tidehunter's Blink Dagger just completely swinging the game. This Sand King's Blink Dagger is, you know, bringing back VP in a big way.
Yeah, it is. Currently only 1,000 gold in favor of VP, and 1,000 experience is, well, excuse me, for BBC on both cases. Sorry about that. Pounce down bottom, not going to leash down Hockey, but now pursued with the Orb of Venom, is just going to zone out this Legion Commander. Can't really go for anything more. But either way, it is looking up for them. Solitude hasted up. They're potentially looking for a duel into BZC. They'll find the Frostblast. Don't have the cooldown or the mana for the ultimate. Solitude with the haste is going to be able to run out here, and BZC is pretty darn low, but no blink on the Legion. Can't really go for anything more. Slark picks up a blink for himself, and for now, both of these supports are fine. Low puck is coming from the other side. There's going to be a split blink onto Hockey, they should be able to bring him down, even if the heal under tower doesn't actually matter. He'll throw it in overwhelming odds and then falls.
Alright, so the first usage of the split, very late as far as splits are concerned. Does get a kill in the end, so it's not really going to matter too much. Legion Commander still has yet to collect a stack of dual damage. By now you want 1 or 2 stacks of dual damage, but having 0 is not good times. BBC, they haven't actually done anything aggressive within the past couple minutes. Like, they started off so aggressively, but I think the pause where Wii is just farming up the Aghanim Scepter is going to be, well, first of all, it has slowed them down, and then it has to just, like, accelerate them so much after this item. It is certainly possible since he has so much power in those meepos, but I don't know, BBC, they might have just slowed down a little bit too much and lost too much momentum right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they're okay taking this later, but then again, BBC, this is time where they could be snowballing, getting damage onto Hockey, and getting a lot of farm on Meepo, not through farming up jungle, but by getting kills. BCZ going to blink away inside the Shadow Dance, and he'll be just fine as they don't drop a Static Storm or anything of the sort onto him.
On top, Pedrinho is going to get found out with the Epicenter Sandstorm as well, just trying to clean out those Ancients, as he has been doing for the entire game. Yol and Seedoy are going to catch him out. Stuck for now, but they're not going to be stuck for much longer. Broodmother dying for the 3rd time in this game, 5 kills, and he's going for the BKB, pretty standard stuff as far as Broodmothers are concerned, but the start from the Broodmother has fallen off quite a lot, as kind of the same thing has happened for Wii. BBC, they're slowly just bleeding heroes right now, and pretty much every single time there's an Epicenter or whenever BBC try to do something, Yol is right there with the Blink Dagger Burrow Strike, and that's just brick walling BBC right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. Right now, BBC, they need to find something, and I think that something is going to rely on Leech Commander's Blink Dagger. We haven't seen the blinks come out yet for BBC on either the Meepo or the LC, and although Leech Commander had an okay start, I mean, you're not going to call it like a dominating performance or anything of this sort, it still wasn't bad, but after dying 4 times, 1, 4, and 0 Leech Commander's KDA, just really hasn't impressed very much. 4 Blink Daggers now in line for VP as Puck picks up his, and right now the initiation edge that they're going to have is pretty immense, and BBC really aren't equipped to deal with it. Right now, they want to be taking fights on their own terms with Leech Commander or Meepo starting them, and they just need a little bit more time.
Yeah, so once those items come up, maybe BBC are going to start pulling themselves back. As it stands, BBC had a nice little advantage, but the EXP and gold has been slowly climbing in VP's favor ever since that Blink Dagger has been picked up by the Sand King. Maybe they could get something going, and 200 gold Wii is pretty darn close to that Blink, but I mean, with VP packing 4 blinks, it's very unlikely that they're going to get initiated upon. Now they're going to make the jump onto Wii over towards mid. He can't even poof out in time. He's going to do a lot of damage with his poofs. Now Static Storm is up, going to catch BBZ and G as well. No split available. It's going to be a 2-for-1. Now the duel onto Seedoy. They're going to turn things around in a big way, making it a 3-for-1. Jodam on the run. Is there a glimpse? Not for another 15 seconds, but this Venge might be going down anyway with Hockey giving chase. Jodam is slightly slower than this Legion Commander is going to try to juke into the trees, try to TP out, but the Centaur Stomp is not going to be there, but the Chain Frost will cancel it off. That's a 4-for-1. That was a lot of poof damage before the Meepo went down, and the Static Storm perfectly placed as well.
That's exactly what you want to do as a Meepo. If you can't get out there alive, just do as much damage as you can before you fall. And as a Meepo, when you have these 4 little Meepo-lings, Meepons, you can just drop them all on the enemy team, and it does quite a bit. And we just saw the power of that. Static Storm Kinetic Field was perfect, and if you're going to lose the Meepo, that's the way to do it. Still an advantageous trade for them, although Meepo wasn't able to purchase his Blink Dagger before and did lose a large sum of gold.
Unfortunately for VP, Yol was AWOL in that fight, busy pushing up the top lane. A blinking Burrow Strike or an Epicenter, man, that could have swung the fight so heavily back in the favor of VP. At the very least, forced BBC to play things a little bit more cautiously. So, I mean, Yol has been doing pretty much all the work now for VP, and well, they try to take one fight where they don't include the Sand King, and suddenly things turn out very poorly from them. I mean, a blinking Burrow Strike, it wouldn't have stopped all that poof damage. Maybe it would have killed off Meepo beforehand. I don't know. It's just kind of risky just not taking that with their Sand King. And now Yol, well, he's going to get away from that situation up towards top.
Yeah, just going to bump in pretty awkwardly up against Levi. But either way, BBC, now with the Blink Dagger on the Meepo as well as the Blink Dagger on Leech Commander, it's their turn to start controlling the momentum. Puck gets a tower destruction in mid on that tier 1. But honestly, at this point, that's not super significant. What is if they're able to steal this Ancient stack, which is pretty huge. That's 4 stacks of Ancients. They're not the fastest at farming this, and they're probably going to lose something up top, and that something's going to be Yol. Glimpse back inside the Stack Storm, not even necessary, and a tier 2 tower. Even though it is a lot of economic damage that they're doing to BBC, maybe it's just a red herring. My goodness, BBC find just a little bit too much. Tower and a kill.
Well, I would say this is actually probably worth it for VP to take. Like, this is a hell of a lot of gold and experience for 4 heroes. And BBC, I mean, they have a Broodmother. One way or another, that top lane tower was going to die. And then they were kind of banking on this one to keep them in this. And now they're also going to maybe get the Legion. No, quick blink out from Hockey, but he can't escape. BZZ going to give chase with the pounce. Hockey going to get the heal on himself, but there's too much burst damage here. The Legion Commander will be going down. Pedrinho also in the air is going to try to go for Jotun, putting himself in the corner. They teleport out. Wee's going to throw the net. Will land in time. That will be 1 kill onto Adventure Spirit. Seedoy also going to be in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, drops a nice coil, and he will be able to get himself away to safety. It looks like Wee's still giving chase, although throwing the nets randomly, not going to land anyone. In the meantime, main fight, Solitude is going to get split upon. Pedrinho doesn't have any way of canceling that one. Now he's going to try to hide in his webs, but I don't think he's actually going to escape, or is he? Is there really no true sight here? It seems like Pedrinho is going to be just fine, but VP, they lose a couple heroes, they gain a lot more than they lose. Pedrinho still stalking someone. He wants to go for this Brewmaster. In the meantime, it's going to be reinitiation down towards bot as Wee is going to not be epicentered by Yell. He cancels it with the net. Now trying to go up against BZ and Yell both. No, the Meepos are gone. They are going to poof back up to the north. And Pedrinho, he's still going for God. Another net from Wee. He's back in this fight. Now going to go for the Brewmaster. He's going to get that kill in the end. My God, can anyone stop this man? This is the Wee Meepo that everyone knows and loves.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, blink forward. BCC looking for more. They get a burst strike. They found themselves Pedrinho, but now healed up with the BKB turned on. They're going to turn with the duel onto Yol. That's going to be the end of his life. BCC's healing up. He is invised up. Now Dusted won't be healing anymore. This kinetic field, but no static storm. They're going to Lich ultimate. BCC's tried to leap away. It's going to be glimpsed down to the south, and that's going to be the end of his life. What a bloodbath. My goodness. I don't think that first trade would have been good for BBC, my goodness, just after the raw numbers, but they come back in a big way, especially Meepo collecting huge. That last fight recap doesn't really tell the story of the fight, since it's only including the 2 kills on the Sand King and the Slark, but that's ridiculous. That's now 1,500 gold on your Meepo, and a Roshan going the way of BBC after the fact.
Yeah, Puck is in the air. No, she's not, actually. It's only Vengeful Spirit. Never mind. The ultimate score, I think, was 4 for 3 in favor of BBC. So numerically wasn't huge in their favor. However, it looked like it was just going to be 3 for 1. I mean, BBC, they were constantly chasing on so many fronts. Wee was everywhere at the exact same time because that's how you play Meepo, I guess. And, well, BBC were able to get so much more out of that than I really would have expected. Also, in the meantime, Legion Commander got her second duel. Still is behind where she wants to be, but with the Blink Dagger, just being able to blink heal at the very least is going to save the Broodmother's life for one thing, and will save, I'm sure, a lot more heroes' lives in the future. So BBC, they take a very, very scattered fight, and up against the Sand King and a Puck and a Brewmaster, the more scattered, the better for BBC.
Yeah. VP wanted to fight just a really nice, organized one, but we had nothing of it. He now has enough gold to get an ultimate orb towards his Scotty or Scythe of Ice, which would be, personally, my favorite choice. In this game, especially up against VP, with some fairly elusive heroes, being able to just blink Scythe, net them down, poof them down, we would be able to get so many kills with that, and honestly, even without a Scythe or anything on top of it, his damage is still immense. He's going to blink onto G. G has the split available. He's going to poof everything on top of it. Although the poofs miss, he's going to be able to subsequently net him up. Now secondary net's going to force out the split. Inside the split, he can still lose his life if he doesn't escape. With the invis on the Storm Panda, he is going to be able to make it out, although only just.
Well, the Earth one is still alive, so he will return to this Earth Brew. He's going to try to go for one Meepo. With the rest of the Meepos giving chase, I think the Brew might actually die unless Wee gets jumped, and he will get jumped. Aegis is now going to be popped. Disruptor looking for a glimpse, but everyone from VP are going to be able to escape. They're going to run straight into Solitude with no Chain Frost. Solitude is just going to be a casualty here and didn't have a chance. Wee's going to get one net onto Seedoy. However, he will jump to the high ground. Static Storm is going to find Seedoy, but Hockey's going to jump up and duel. I don't think he has enough damage to win this without poof help, and there's the poof help. Going to give Legion Commander another stack of damage, and at the same time, going for G down on the low ground. He's returned to his main form. He is going to get swapped out from Jotum. That might lead to his survival, although it will kill off the Venge in the end. Brewmaster will survive. Sand King will survive as well. BBC, oh no, G. He's going to get glimpsed back. Wee is going to find him, and he's going to get the kill as well. Oh my, you can't run. You can't hide. I don't know what you can do.
This ward was exactly what they needed, giving him vision right there. They got the glimpse and the net to land. Dire's Courier does die in the meantime. That was carrying just some wards for them, so that's a small win for VP, but it's just, I don't know, a silver lining on a very dark cloud. BBC win that fight, even though it starts out on a good foot for VP. Once we came back with the second life, it was all but over.
And now he's looking to repeat that performance down towards bottom. Huge amounts of poofs in onto the Slark. Will not outright kill him off. Now into the Shadow Dance he goes. TP coming in from the puck. He does have a coil, but he's going to get netted once. He has to get the hell out of there, and he will make it out, albeit barely. Pedrinho in the meantime is going to try to kill off BZZ, but he's going to pop the BKB way too late, and he will go down. Swap after the fact from Jodam. It's a 1 kill for BBC right now. They're going to find Yol. Do they have a glimpse? They have a Chain Frost. That might be enough. No, just out of range of bouncing from the crease, but Yol will be dropping anyway. Sidoi, with help of BZ, will kill off the Disruptor in return. Jodam's also closing in. Solitude is going to try to TP out, will make it out to safety, will not snap the coil and kill himself, but he's stalking some prey right now. He finds anyone that someone should be Sidoi. Rest in peace, Sidoi. You don't have long. No, he's going to blink upwards where they actually have found Hockey. Has the blade mail up, but he will be burst down. He's here so for Wee. Here comes the poof. Double kill for Wee. Now going on to Jodam. It's going to be a triple. It was an elaborate bait the entire time. Maybe. Who knows? Wee collects big with a triple.
My goodness. After that fight, Wee is just 1,000 gold or so till he has that Scythe device all the way completed. I'm not gonna say that that's a clean victory for BBC, but it's a clean victory for Wee, and I suppose he counts as maybe at least 2 heroes with the amount of Meepos that he has on the field. And now that Ward spotting out the Brewmaster, he's on the hunt yet again. He does have blinks and poofs, but G has his split, so this might not work out. The poof damage is pretty immense. G's going to split immediately, and that's probably going to be the end of it. He's trying to kill off the Wind Panda first, but just can't do it. Wee's dropping low on one of his Meepos, and probably is going to be forced back. They are going to look for the Burrow Strike. Yol's going to miss it, however, and Meepo still has a lot of poofs in here. Not going to land on the Sand King. Wee is still surviving, going to beat down onto the Wind Panda. And that will be the end of the Fire Panda's life. Yol netted down, taking a lot of damage. The Burrow Strike swap is going to save his life. Jodam going to stun up one of Wee's Meepos. Wee's still fighting like a boss, but it looks like he might end up falling. Let's see if he has enough support. They bring in Hockey to get the duel on G. G's going to end his life. There's the poofs coming through, going to do a huge amount of damage to Sidoi. The Epicenter's going through in the backlines. Wee's dropping low. Will he be able to survive? No, he won't. Is going to be dropped in the end towards the Slark as he's able to pick him off, but inside the Static Storm, BCC dropping too low, pants his way immediately, but then dies to the Static Charge. They lose Meepo, but kill everything else and get damage for Legion Commander to boot.
Wee is literally a god amongst men. Like, I don't even know what to say. This guy, he just took a 1v4. I mean, he had a little bit of help by the end of it. He knew exactly how much his hero can take. Was eventually brought down. That's because he ate the bulk of the Sand King Epicenter, but that Sand King blinked straight into the poofs and was annihilated shortly thereafter. BBC, they win a fight, or can we even say that BBC won a fight? I think we won a fight right there, and it's going to be a full 5-man team wipe in favor of BBC, and they're also going to take a bottom lane tower in the meantime. They also take down a mid-tier 2. Massive set of wins for BBC, and well, Meepo, he's getting very close to that sheepstick if he does want to go for that one. Any sort of stats is going to go a hell of a long way for this guy, because already it feels like he's nigh unkillable.
Yeah, it really does. Great performance coming up from BBC overall. Aghanim's Scepter now up for the Disruptor. It's just going to make it so much harder for VP to fight, and even though Legion Commander doesn't have that many items, her damage is starting to stack up, and with Ice Armor to back up, that's pretty much all that you need. Slark's getting a decent amount, but honestly, Scotty's not the end-all be-all for VP. It's not going to immediately allow him to take on Wee, especially not 1v1, and by 1v1, I mean 1v5. Yeah, well, I'm just going to keep my eyes on all the Meepo clones. I feel like that's mostly where the action's going to happen, although BZZ up towards top is being stalked by Hockey. This is a very difficult kill without Meepo's help, but oh, look at that. Meepo is everywhere. He's omnipresent, and he's going to help out in this duel. There goes the Slark. He's pretty darn tanky with that Eye of Scotty, but certainly not tanky enough. Unfortunately for BBC, this means that their Meepo is not going to be on this bottom lane fight where Pedrinho is going to get jumps. He's going to pop the BKB and the Hunger. Now going to try to go for Jodam. Chain Frost is there as well. G can't get the split out. He has a BKB, but he's not using it. He's going to go down for free. It's a triple kill for Pedrinho. Now going to go for Sidoi. With the orb out, it looks like the puck might be able to survive. But is there an Aghanim Scepter on Disruptor? There is. Wow, that's why he didn't use that BKB, and that's why he went down. No split, no Epicenter for VP. They get absolutely wiped once again. They're going to lose even more structures. My goodness, that was ridiculous. That turn from the Broodmother, backed up by that Aghanim's ulti from the Disruptor onto 3 with the Lich Chain Frost bouncing through. Even though the Chain Frost only bounced once or twice, stopping Brewmaster from getting off his split is huge. If you don't get the BKB off before the Static Storm comes out, you're completely up the river. Meepo going to be able to take this tower very quickly. He's actually standing there pretty awkwardly. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. He's poofing on the backlines. That's what's going on. Sidoi is gone.
Okay, so that just happened. There's 15 seconds until VP are, realistically at full strength. They'll have 8 Epicenter. They'll have a split. They still have a good chance of defending this. However, 7 seconds might be 7 seconds too long since they're very quickly losing the melee Raxes. Teleport in from Slark, has a Shadow Dance, and he's going to try to go for Solitude, but I don't know if the Slark can realistically do this. He's going to get the packed out, but there is a Sheep Stick. He's going to get sheeped and then beaten down by Meepo. No into the Shadow Dance he goes. He's going to survive for a little while longer, but I don't know for how long. In the meantime, they've lost Raxes. Yul is going to pick off Hockey in the meantime, but Wee is now in the area. He's going to force out the split from the Brewmaster and now just fight him to the death. Yul looking for another Burrow Strike in, but gets sheeped right before he could actually launch that Burrow Strike. BZZ is going to try to jump in for Wee one more time. He's going to get clipped, and looks like Wee might be dropping here. Very low on 1 Meepo, 150 HP, but it's not quite going to be enough. He's going to survive and kill off the Brewmaster in split form in the meantime. Solitude, of all people, is going to be the one to draw a triple kill, but Wee survives at 150 HP. The rest of his Meepo is almost perfectly healthy. They force out a GG. My God. That was disgusting.
Yeah. My goodness, like, that was a beautiful game by BBC. The Dota 2 Lounge bettors did not have faith, but you definitely should. BBC are one of those teams that on a good day can mop out pretty much every other team in existence, especially when we're playing like this. My goodness, we just had a field day, and that's not to take anything away from the other heroes in this game. Pedrino, Solitude, everybody carried their own weight, and in the end, VP just had nothing to deal with that Meepo. They could drop him low, but low doesn't really count. This has been the coverage of the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 here on HeflaTV HB1. That's going to be it for the day, unfortunately, but come back tomorrow. We're going to have 2 best of 3s, starting, I believe, at 16 CET, if I'm not mistaken. I'm GrandisV. I've been joined by Mike Loris. You can find us personally at GrandisV and at Mike Loris. And if you like the casting you see here, you might also decide to follow us on HeflaTV at Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. And the VODs will be uploaded to youtube.com/HeflaMoke if you want to watch these games again. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you tomorrow.